I'm going to search by healthcare.
Okay.
You mentioned like CMA, medical sonographer, clinical pharmacist, medical technologist, maybe.
Sure.
Okay, so this will give you an idea of what our careers look like. So up top, I can save this career. I can get tested. I can quiz myself to see my progress and what I've learned. I can take notes. But the kind of crown jewel of the platform is right here. So these are highly curated videos. Our producer is actually an Emmy-winning producer from ESPN. She's one of the founders of this platform. So everything's in high quality and done just with a lot of care to like the quality, but then also who we've chosen to talk to the students. Now I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of this for you.
Microscope. We have to let them know that needs a doctor's attention so they can treat the patient. This is my dream, to help people and to make a difference. My name is Katie Sima and I am a medical technologist. I work at the mHealth Fairview. We are in Minneapolis, Minnesota. mHealth Fairview has been providing exceptional clinical care to patients throughout Minnesota. And that includes pediatric and emergency room, cancer center, all kinds of healthcare. The main job of medical technologists is to test the blood that was collected. I have a specimen here. I'm going to go process this and analyze it. This is a centrifuge that we use. Balancing is very important. Always have a balancing tube. Close this, push start. What's happening inside is the tube is spinning. It's going to spin for 4 minutes. Somebody that likes chemistry, biology, I believe they make a good medical technologist. As a technologist, Steve rotated in the core lab. We have
The like science bebop music always cracks me up. Like.
So these videos are all ones that that your team, the virtual, or wait, I'm not sure. Now I'm mixed up on which team did what, but the Virtual Job Shadow team produced yourself?
Yeah, so this is all proprietary to our platform. You can only find it here.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. I thought that, because I know there's also videos on the, what's it called? On the ONET, on the federal jobs database. There's also I shouldn't say some, there's hundreds of videos there that are kind of similar, but different. So
so everything that you're seeing here and everything you will see is only available on the platform we've done ourselves, and we're always adding new content.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, this is like a huge part of the work we put in to really make sure the videos are high quality, that they're shadowing people and also shadowing people of diverse backgrounds, so that students can see themselves represented here on the platform.
Right. Wonderful.
So it's really easy for kids then to see in a snapshot. It's like, like 3 to 5 minutes is about as much as you can get a kid nowadays to watch something. So we've made it an appropriate length. And then the cool thing is right below it are these follow-up videos so that a student can get their questions answered. Now, say you have a kid look at this and like, wow, this is really cool. I want to learn more. You have all this extra information on the left. So I can see like what you would do on the job, educational requirements. We actually have, we're in the middle of updating this, but this should actually populate for your state. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is like where we get information from. So if they don't self-report, it's not going to actually show up for that career. But for example, like, let's see, I think this one actually, you self-report like for your state from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it'll show up here like this to see at a glance what that pay looks like in state. So your kids can see what it looks like in Ohio, or if outside of it, they can go across the border.
Yeah, that Bureau of Labor data is tricky, isn't it? In terms of the quality of the data, you try to make it look pretty. It's not always easy.
Yeah, mostly they're pretty good about reporting, but every once in a while I come across this where like, if they don't pull it, we can't show it, obviously. We can see like the growth rate of this job. We actually have a full college search. So this is going to show me in state where I can go out of state. So here I can see all the opportunities to go to schools for a medical technologist in Ohio. So I remember when I was applying to schools, it felt super overwhelming for my interest to even figure out which schools offered them. So I love how this limits it down. So I know every single one of these schools will offer a degree as a medical technologist.
Do those link over to they link over to the university or whatever?
They actually link over to a full college profile we've created.
I gotcha.
So it's going to give a lot of visuals, which I think are really helpful for kids, so they can easily see things like pay, financial aid, score averages, and then all the programs that study offered at the school. So I can do things such as like save this school, compare it to other colleges I've saved. We have a full scholarship search, which I think is great, especially when you live in a rural area. It's like, you know, you might be worrying about what you can get in terms of funding for schools and whether it's affordable. This helps you search by different filters for scholarships that are appropriate for you. Now, the cool thing is we also link to Indeed directly. So when I click here, it's going to show me medical technologist jobs, where I live. What's your local zip code?
Mine is 44145.
Okay. Just as an example, if you, whatever the student's zip code is, will show up here automatically. And it's going to show the medical technologist jobs where they live. So these link directly to Indeed. So anything that's popping up in Indeed pops up here. So this is really cool because, you know, a student's looking at this job and they're like, is there even opportunities local to me? Or, you know, if I went to blah, blah, blah city, is there opportunities there? So it's for them to be able to see realistically what these opportunities are, really helps them get excited and informed. You can also do things like search summer jobs. So if a kid's looking for a summer job, they can see what's available locally. Now, something I want to highlight is our work-based learning board. This is like your personal bulletin board. So any opportunities you found for the kids in the area, you can actually post here. So if you found like a great like shadowing opportunity or internship near the students, you can make these postings, these boards here, linked to the job opportunity, and kids know to come on here to see if there's anything local for them available.
Oh, interesting. So wait, back up for 1 second on that. So let's say I talk to an organization and they tell me that they have an internship opportunity. Does it have to be posted on Indeed to be able to appear here? So you can just actually load them or create them?
Yeah, so on the back end, this is like your own internal posting board. So on the back end, I would make one of these little rectangles and I make a description. I can show how long this posting's active. So if I want to say it's active to the fall, because that's when they're going to hire someone. And then I can hyperlink the title. So I would just plop in a hyperlink to that opportunity. Like this is for Disney, but I could plop in like a link to the application if it's on someone's website. Or if you don't have to hyperlink, if you're like, hey, if you're interested, you know, email me or email this person and blah, blah, blah. So this is only kept here on the platform.
Gotcha. Now, how is that, how is it defined as a local opportunity? So I'm just thinking like, okay, so in Ross County, let's say we located something and it's, you know, geographically, it makes sense for somebody in Ross County to consider it, but we've got a different opportunity for somebody that's in the next county over. Is it tied to that student's profile and within a certain geographic? Is it tied to their Pathful account that you've created? How is that tied?
It's tied to the administrator or the teacher's account. So like you basically add it on your end, and the students you have access to, you plop it on here. You could also kind of like write down the title if you wanted to say like blah 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 county opportunity dash this. So if you wanted to like delineate it so kids know what county this is in, you can do that. It really depends too, like how you like create the licenses themselves. I can go over more kind of how that looks like and how we can design things on our end. It really just matters whether you're looking at like potentially purchasing this like per like school or district, whether you're looking at like a subset of students. That kind of delineates how the like administrative and teacher signed is split too and who they have access to.
Gotcha. Okay. So like in terms of what Josh has, what the team has for the Pickle Ross CTC, they've got an administrator account or whatever, so they can go in and set this up. And so any of the schools, and Josh, maybe you can educate me on how you've licensed this, because I know that it's been purchased for your schools to use. So maybe explain to me what your vision is with how you're setting this. I mean, maybe you're not going to use this right off the bat, but my wheels are spinning now on how kind of what you've got set up.
Our initial package started about a year ago. The state provided all the career centers with an extra line item in the budget that is kind of dedicated for career exploration. I think they designated $4 per student in the CTPD. So like basically you take all the schools in Ross County and Pickaway County. I think it's the kids that are like 7 through 12. Every one of those kids, we get like $4 a kid. And then we have to submit a plan of what we're going to do with this money. So Mr. Davis and Lily, you can maybe fill in the pieces because I wasn't involved with this part of it. Our superintendent, Mr. Davis, and our other director, Mr. VC, were initially the leads on it. So they took that money and they set up license for every middle school kid in the 2-county area. And then one of our, have you ever heard of Game Plan, Christy?
I have, but I haven't used it. I just know I've heard of others talking about it.
So Game Plan is a program that's been in existence for several years. It comes through the state, and basically you're targeting like at-risk youth. Okay. And providing them with services both inside the school and outside of the school. So we took some of our staff that was involved with that, specifically Amy Poorman, and I think I might have mentioned her as a resource in one of our emails. And Lily knows, probably knows Amy pretty well because she is actually the implementation person of this. But she's been going out to the schools and helping them to set this product up, to do the interest surveys, and then kind of turning it over to the middle schools to do their own exploration after she gets them set up and running and demos it. So that's kind of like what our first step has been, which, you know, there's Pickaway Works, which I think Jonathan talked to you a little bit about that they've been doing some, you know, work similar to what you're doing for years in Pickaway County. And then we've been trying to get almost like a Ross Works together. But honestly, I think people in the community have just been so busy that they haven't had time to fully dedicate to it. Whereas like in Pickaway County, they employ these people to basically do this kind of stuff full time. So that's at least our initial involvement. And I know, Christy, you've been doing work with Adina and Zane Trace. They've had this product for over a year as well. I've just started, you know, in the last couple of months, kind of working with Jason and Lily and yourself, Christy. So I haven't run any analytics yet on how much it's been used in the schools or how much data is in there. I just got my login the other day. So we're going to start evaluating, you know, how people are using it, what they're using it for. And then I don't know, how many years did we sign up for initially, Lily?
1 year. And then, because you started with the middle schools, I believe, and then the high schools. So you're talking with Jonathan, actually just started talking to us about this, about renewing basically, because it's like early winter time is when the middle school is doing like an 18-month contract with them, this renewal, so that everything basically be aligned, so that like the next renewal, middle schools and high schools are going to be bringing together and make things a little easier on financing.
I mean, right now, Christy, where we are is they put this line item in the budget this year or these 2 years. You know, next spring is the next biennium. So I think they're going to be looking at submissions from the career centers to see like, what did you actually, you know, spend this money on? what was the benefit for your CTPD. And so there'll probably be, discussions within the education committees in terms of, does this make it back as a line item into the budget or not?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, this local board thing is interesting to me because in Highland County, one of the schools is really aggressively looking at how do we do internships and local internships with businesses and really hyper local. And so I've been kind of wrapping my head around, like, how do you manage that? Where do you put that information? Right now they've got one school with somebody keeping kind of I think it's probably just an Excel spreadsheet list of who's interested. How do you share that information though across the other 5 schools in the county so that everybody knows, maybe that business can take 5 people, but that school that first made that contact only has one that it's a fit for. How do you let everybody else know that there's this could be an opportunity? So anyways, that was where my head went. I'd love to understand, Lily, so this is super helpful, and I can see, Josh, got a lot of ideas on how this all fits together. I mean, certainly it's awesome to see that these tools are being developed, right? Because for so long we've been teaching math and science, and there's no tie in to where it goes from there. So this is really exciting. Tell me how you mentioned that there's some interest-based surveys and things like that. I'd love to understand kind of what that looks like. And I think I looked at the one, the middle school one on the on your other platform, on the virtual job shadow platform. And it looked like it was kind of oriented towards using Holland codes as a way of understanding the person's interest, which I totally love for middle school. I think it's like the right place to start. So curious to learn a little bit more about how that fits together.
Definitely. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, that's good timing. Before we go to assessments, I just want to make sure that I don't skip this part because it's really exciting. But we do also contain life skills videos. So as your students are thinking about like next steps, they can do things like work on like leadership skills or job prep. These are standalone videos that students can like save or journal and reflect on that go over different life skills. So you can like assign these or bring them up in class. As you were mentioning, like kind of like job opportunities and internships, the first job section could be really cool for them. These are walkthroughs of popular first jobs someone can have. So it's basically like, here's one location and here's the different jobs you can do at this singular location. Okay, anyway, just wanted to glance through that. The assessments are hosted under our tools section, available in English and Spanish. And we have one that focuses on career cluster matching. We have the easy version of that. So this is like a shorter, more simplified version. So sometimes people will use this for the middle school. We have the Holland RISEC that you just mentioned is our interest profiler. We have one that matches you to our ideal work environment. And then one that matches you based on your aptitude. So it's like kind of like an SAT, like aptitude style test. So the way these work, I'm going to show the work importance locator, for example, is you're going to answer questions, or in this case, stack what's most important to you. Like, do you want to be busy all the time or work alone? So you go and work your way through the assessment. And then when you're done, every single assessment is going to bring me to results. This is going to tell me I like high achievement jobs. And then all results always lead to relevant career profiles. So this is an awesome way for students to get started, especially if they're like, I don't know what I'm interested in, or they're like, I'm a high achievement, I like high achieving jobs, but like, what does that look like? Like so many times, you take an assessment and you don't understand what the results mean. So I love how this brings me directly to career profiles. So I can click on these and see exactly what that looks like. Okay, and then in terms of other tools, we have a resume and cover letter builder that I think is super handy for kids. This has everything sectioned out with helpful hints if I get stuck. And then samples, so like, what does a 11th grader's resume look like? It's like, have you ever done the online thing where you're trying to find a resource for a kid and it's like the 24-year-old resume?
I just
Yeah.
helped one of my own kids who had like a high school version of a resume, and now he's 20 and it just had an internship, and he's like, somebody told me needed to reformat it. And I'm like, you're right, you do, because it's no longer a high school resume. So
Exactly. I used to work a lot with middle schoolers in my last one of my last jobs, and it's just like you're trying to find a resource, and you're like, a 25-year-old resume is not going to be great for this like 12-year-old kid.
yeah.
So I love how these are age appropriate resumes, so kids can actually see something that looks realistic for them. Now, the cool thing too is when you're done, you can download this as a Word or PDF, and everything's pre-formatted for them. So this is a really great tool for students to get started and have an easy way to make a working resume. Okay, and then in terms of other tools, I just want to mention, we also have a post-secondary planning tool, so you can outline what your next steps look like, and a goal-setting tool. Now, this is most of what's on the platform. The only little thing I want to highlight is under a student's profile, there's this really cool summary tool called My Plan. My Plan is a button you press, and it gives you an overview of everything that kid's been working on. So their education plan, school, scholarships, careers, goals, assessments, and their resume in one working document.
Oh, wow. Here we go. Scroll back up for 1 second. I was just curious on how so all the different career cluster interests. Are those the sections of your assessment, or are those learning modules? You talked about there being some life skill modules.
So these are the results of their assessment. So it's basically ranking them. So it's saying like high achievement jobs, I ranked the highest in, the next was independence and relationships. So it's what's most relevant, like interest-wise to them.
I gotcha.
So I like this because it's so easy to have. Like if you have a one-on-one with a student, you can export this really quick and it's ready to go. Okay, so I just want to spend like a minute looking at the admin side of this. It's really cool. So as an admin, I know you're thinking about like data and training. In terms of training, it's awesome. You get a personal account manager. Josh might be able to speak to this slightly, but I know it's more of Amy and Rhonda's land. You get a personal customer success manager who meets with you right away. They help you with all the setup. So I know that's, definitely on your mind. You're thinking of a large scale implementation. We do all that work for you. If you're looking at like implementing within school districts, we can be compatible with their single sign-ons. Like if they're like a Google school, we can integrate with that. And then in terms of training, all staff and teachers have access to these live weekly trainings, so they can ask questions during them. So, you have what could potentially be hundreds of teachers, all with different schedules. They can come on here on their own time and still get a live training if that's appropriate. So it really makes the setup and the training easy, but then also accessible so they can ask their questions they have. Okay, in terms of tools, the two big things I want to highlight is our reporting tool. So if I wanted to run a report in the last 12 months, I could also choose a subgroup like just my English class. And then I could look for example, the results of their peer cluster interest survey. Within a few clicks, I can choose to sort by my top results, and now at a glance, see what most popular peer clusters are within my school. So this is awesome in terms of tracking and data to prove that your funding is being used. You can even do things like, I want to search by user overview. What this means is I can even track the amount of hours students are spending on site. So it's so easy to make sure our kids are using the platform. Now, the lessons I mentioned before are hosted here under Flex Lessons. I can go through over 60 and growing pre-made lessons. So I can assign ones ready to go, like making a resume, collaboration, choosing a career path. I can preview this lesson and see that it has content such as readings, life skills videos, quizzes. This is all ready to go to be assigned. But I can also choose to customize this. Like if I wanted to add, for example, some local content, I can clone it and then edit my own personal copy. So I could like change this reading to add some local content. I could just remove the module or reorder it. And then at the bottom is where I can add my own activities, like a career profile I liked, or a journal, or make my own quiz, or say a local business did a walkthrough of where they work. I could upload that as a YouTube video or just directly link to their website.
Oh, wow. Fun.
It's so easy. And then I can either assign this lesson, so I can assign this like across a whole school or a district. But I can also choose to create a new lesson. Like if you're like, I want a lesson to showcase for like Ross County, all these local jobs, I could add modules and just build out a lesson that shows like walkthroughs of local businesses or connecting to specific career profiles of popular local jobs. So this is a really great way to deliver that custom material to your students. Okay, so that's really an overview of this platform. This is where most of my time's gonna go in. The other platform has, it's kind of a more concise mission. Do you have any questions before I show you what the other one looks like?
Oh, this is great. Thank you. There's a lot of really great content. You must have a huge content team working on this stuff.
All the time. They are super talented. Okay, so the other platform is our Pathful Connect, aka NetBreath. So as you can see, very direct. These are the 4 different sections you're going to be working in, and mainly these 2. So what I want to highlight first is this session request. So this is like the heart of the platform. What this is any teacher in your schools can request a live session for your students. So, they're wondering, why they're learning geometry. Let's bring in that aerospace engineer. Let's bring in a Broadway actor to your acting class. But not only can it be a chat, it can also be like more of like, showcase interaction. Like a science teacher can have someone do a video chat to do a science experiment for the kids. You could have like a firefighter do a tour of the fire station. You can have a panel of experts come in and judge your classroom presentation. So there's a lot of flexibility of these sessions. And the cool part is you can also request by demographic. So if you have like a little Latina girl in the class who's like, I've never seen a scientist who looks like me, you could ask for like a Latina female, chemist to video chat with your kids to bring relevance to that student. So these are really exciting for kids. This is what really gets them like hyped and engaged in what they're learning and feeling like there's a reason they're learning it. Like, biology might not be their favorite subject, but if they can understand why they're learning it and how it's a relevant skill for post-graduation, it helps them feel like there's a reason behind learning it. So really easy, you just fill out this request and then we manually match you to the best fit and help you schedule that time for them to chat with your students. And then the cool part is post-chat, you can still stay connected to those professionals. We have like an internal LinkedIn under Career Explorer for your teachers. Oh, not that one. Go back. So I can like, say I just scheduled a chat with Anne Francis. I can connect with her and stay connected. Say I have like a follow-up question after the session, I can ask her. Now, going back to that homepage, our other live tool is the live industry connections. These are pre-arranged chats. You'll see a bunch more pop up when the school year gets started, more in swing. But these are basically like big connections, people we've made that are already live session scheduled. So anyone who is a customer can join these. Like this one's a video chat with someone who's video chatting live from the jungles of Costa Rica to talk about sloth conservation. So any classes who have this can sign up for this and they can still ask questions live. These are really easy for your staff because it's already pretty, ready-made and ready to go. Okay, so those are the main things I really wanted to highlight about this platform, Pathful Connect. Also, as a heads up, any video that's recorded with permission is actually hosted here too. So I can look up like old sessions, like if I'm working with my students on weather maps, I can see other old weather map sessions. And I could either maybe like assign this as like homework for a kid. You can actually import this directly into a Google Classroom lesson. Or if I saw this and it was really cool, I can just click recreate and it pre-fills the form for me. So I can request a session that's super similar to this. Okay, so that's the high level overview of both. Do you have any questions about this platform?
Back up one second. I was just curious on your local, when you were doing those video searches, just like one screen, I think.
Yep.
It says, okay, so you're doing video searches, my community. So those are the ones that if you've like linked to localized interviews or things like that, do you tag them for certain career clusters so that they show up there?
Let's see. So, these are like some names that we've tagged. I think some schools have specifically asked to be like put under like ones we specifically recorded with like Austin ISD. So if you wanted to see like the session specifically in your district or your area, you can.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. So these are more your kind of general information, like career information sessions.
No, these videos are actually like sessions like specific like classrooms have requested. And with their permission,
Gotcha.
we've edited them, we've blurred out the kids' faces, and then we put them on here so you can see old sessions that I've done with other people.
I gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
Something I will mention though about this platform is I know you're talking a lot about like, you know, getting connections with like local industry professionals. Any of those industry professionals are welcome to become one of like the people that can be like video chat on our platform. So I know sometimes the struggle isn't just to get people who are interested in working with kids, but like the time and the resources to meet with them. The cool part is, say you had like a local like mechanic who's like, I would love to connect with kids, but I can't bring like, you know, 300 kids into my class, you know, into my car shop. You can send him our way. We'll vet him. We'll train him on how to talk to kids. And then he can be one of those people that your classrooms request sessions with. So, you know, he's able to video chat with a whole school at a time, classroom to classroom, from, you know, a video chat and explain things and like show kids how to change a tire. And he can do that through the app anywhere platform. So it's manageable on both sides. So it is a really cool way to create connections locally in a way that's manageable and approachable to your local partners.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Definitely. Okay, do you have any other questions?
Not right now. I think there's a lot of really robust information here for sure. Josh, I guess I'm wondering because Jonathan gave me a login to the virtual job shadow a few months ago. Would that same login work to this now merged platform, or is that separate stuff?
It would be separate. Basically with the platforms you get like either or. He just purchased like the virtual job shadow side, the Explore side.
I gotcha. Okay.
But if you go, let me drop a link into this chat. I can also send it to you. Let's see. If you go to it's pathful.com, let's see, they should have. We might have finished this. I don't think we actually have this anymore. I'm going to send you the link to here. This will kind of help you go over what we just went over. It's our new website. So it goes over what we just looked at, and you can see some of like what we do and what we have upcoming.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. This is really helpful.
Definitely. There's also, this is what I was looking for. You can, well, that's the demo.
And Josh,
Sorry, we just redesigned the whole website on Monday. So I'm like, everything's in a new spot now.
So Josh, in terms of what was currently under contract, is it the whole platform we just looked at or just one part of it?
I believe it's just one part of it because when Jonathan originally set it up, I think there were still two companies at that point. So we just got the virtual job shadow package. I don't know what the discussion is at this point. When we get to the renewal, what he's going to want to do. I'm assuming, Lily, you're probably going to schedule an appointment with him at some point when we're getting closer to that renewal timeframe.
Yes, they know about this a little bit. I've been talking to Rhonda. I know since they're still working on like basically like the implementation settlement of the for the high schools, they're focusing on that right now with the school year starting. But it's definitely something they're aware of and think is like pretty cool. It's just, you know, there's only so much you can do in one point right now.
Great. Well,
yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, what do you think this would be something that would be like useful or helpful for your project?
Well, for sure. I mean, different schools in different counties are at different places in what they're thinking about doing. I'm really interested in how the videos, as well as, because what we're kind of where we are is some schools are ready to do the assessment piece as like step one. Some are starting to do more of the exploration, as well as looking at credentialing and things like that. And then we've got others that are really committed to also getting students those internship experiences. And then mixed in there is an interest to do credentialing, industry credentials at the high school level. So needing to kind of dial in on that path sooner versus later, so that we can decide, like medical assistant, is that something that they should be working on or can be working on as a senior in high school, so that they could go into that opportunity then after graduation. So that was where my head was going on some of the localized job boards, is starting to try to organize some of the local resources, if you will. So, if there are companies interested in being helpful, how do we use this continuum of a process to help kind of identify clusters of students interested in certain areas, so that we can then connect them in with those local opportunities or that local need. So like, for example, dental assistant is something that's got a local need. How can we identify some students interested in that have the aptitudes for that, and then plug them into that training, so that we can plug them into those local job shadowings or internship opportunities. So that's kind of some of where my head is thinking about that platform.
Definitely. And I think that would really help with the interest surveys. And since you can look at the results, so you can see like what kids have that affinity or interest.
And so just to make sure that I'm understanding your different, because you had a variety of different interest surveys, those are all individual types of surveys, right? In terms of independent. So you complete one, then you complete a different one. Is that how I understand it?
Definitely. Yes. You can see which, you complete one or the other, and you can see the results, and you can see which students are qualifying for what results. Something cool too that I want to highlight, pull it back up, is I can also, like, if you're trying to figure out like what kids are like really interested in a certain job, I can also run a report on videos watched. So if I wanted to look the past like 12 months and see what types of videos are watched, I could run this. This is actually a huge report, by the type of career. And with any report, I can actually export it by the, into an Excel document. Sorry, my computer is not working with me right now. So if I wanted to like keep an eye on like what kids are looking at what jobs, I could sort by the career name. So I could get a list of like every kid in the last like 3 months that has looked at like a dental assistant job.
Gotcha.
So I think that would be really cool. Because also, what happens if you saw one kid looked at like 5 times? You're like, okay, like that kid likes that job. So I think this is a really cool way, because like not every kid's going to approach you and be like, I'm interested in being a dental assistant. Is there a job for that? But if you can like run a report and see, and like on your back end, be able to see what kids are interested in looking at it already, those are kids who would be a good students to try and target and talk to about that career.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, kids are not always the best at coming out and talk to you about that stuff, or they don't even know that they should or they can. Like it's great to help kind of like dig out those students of those interests without trying to make them take that first step.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This is really helpful, Lily. I look forward to working with Josh. We've got actually a conversation, or I think we're trying to schedule a conversation for tomorrow with some schools. So we've got, I call them pilot of ones, right? So in terms of how do you start to bring these resources together, finding those that are kind of early adopters, willing to think differently, and then experimenting, like how do all these tools fit together? How do these resources fit together? So I look forward to kind of thinking about it and diving into how to put these things to action.
Definitely. And then what do your next steps look like on your end?
Well, my next steps, in terms of my role, it's looking at how to integrate this into the work and the conversations that are happening. So there's definitely work happening within the schools, like I said, at different places. And so figuring out how these things all connect together. So aligning with Josh and the team at Pickle Ross, as well as Jonathan, in terms of what his thinking is on terms of the contract and the funding that Josh referenced. The state of Ohio is certainly continuing to progress their thinking about how that funding structure looks for career exploration and the fact that it's needed sooner. So I don't know that I have a real, it's like a lot of things. I don't know that I have a definitive, like, hey, we need to connect again in a week, Lily, because I'm going to have talked to these 3 people. I think what it is that it's my thinking of how this can all fit into some of the things that are already underway. So how do we make sure, to Josh's point, and to what you'll be looking at, how do we make sure that if this resource is available, that people are taking advantage of it, that schools are taking advantage of it and understand how it can be used? I think that's one of the most challenging things, is that we have high school, well, we have staff, we have teachers that have to teach math and science, and then now all of a sudden we're telling them they have to teach careers too, and that's a big ask.
No, I understand that. And I think that's why it's really nice to give them a platform, because then it's not like, figure this all out on your own. It's like, okay, here's the structure. Here's something. I mean, even if it's as easy as, here, all you have to do is schedule a meeting, with someone. You just have to fill out a form and they do all the work of matching for you. Like, that feels a lot more like approachable of an ask than like, creating something from scratch.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So on your end, I know you need some time to talk to some people.